Laker Nation, where you at tonight? The Lakers are back in the finals in a long time. The pain and suffering is gone. Where y'all at? Y'all welcome to join us on NBA Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all is sports. And welcome tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on Fast Break. If you're a Laker fan, you should be happy right now. If you're a Laker fan, you should be rejoicing right now. LeBron James, Anthony Davis have led your team back to the NBA finals. But first, D-Lock, whatever half of the show. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Another day. The Lakers did what they were supposed to do. I'm pretty sure every fan is going like super crazy right now. Wow. I mean, LeBron is being LeBron. We know that. And Anthony Davis did what he was supposed to. Exciting, man. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of Laker fans can come out of hide now if they were.
And if you just if you're new here, if you're a Laker fan, you're new here, thank you for tuning in. D-Lock, when I watched this game last night, and first and foremost, I give credit all due to the Denver Nuggets. We'll talk about him more about the team in a second, but this team has a tremendous future and very, very talented young core. So I do want to shout out them as, for them being a great competitor. I think them being down 3-1 again, I think that hill be too tough to climb once again. Not saying they could do it, but it would have been tough, D-Lock, for them to come back from that 3-1 hole.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the fact that, every other team that they played, they did come back. They did a 3-1 against Utah. Utah did that against the Clippers. But if we're being honest, neither team has the greatest play, one of the greatest players of all time on their team. So LeBron was going to allow that. I'm pretty sure that going up 3-1, that same night and that following day and the date of the game, it was very important that they let them know, that this is a team that we're playing and they came back. So this game is important. Let's not let up. And that's exactly what they did. They blew them out, or they won. And LeBron had a hell of a game with his triple-double. I think he'll finish with 38 points. I believe, or 38 points. Yeah, I think 12 assists and 10 rebounds. So, yeah, I mean, that purple and gold definitely, showed their colors. And LeBron showed who he is, and Anthony Davis did as well.
Yeah, I mean, granted, if you're a Laker fan, you wish Anthony Davis is more aggressive on the rebounds. You wish, like, damn dog, I mean, I want you to mix it in a little bit, but when push came to shove and when he needed to step up scoring wise, Davis was that dude and showed up. LeBron getting the triple-double. Anthony Davis finished with 27 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 for 16 from the field. LeBron 15 to 25 from the field. Dwight Howard almost having a double-double. And when they decided to go to him in that starting lineup, you really kind of maximizing your talent in that starting lineup. And, JaVale McGee, he's decent when you ask him to do. But Dwight Howard was a number one overall pick for a reason. and put him in that lineup has kind of, flourished. I don't know, kind of filled out that starting lineup to a degree. I don't know what you thought about that, because when Vogel put him in that lineup, it's like, okay, this guy can defend, this guy can get my rebounds, he can score a little bit, and now I have to worry about his minutes compared to JaVale McGee. What you think about that, D-Lock?
Well, that was a good move because the whole point of having Dwight in there is because of the physicality that he brings. So he made it very tough for Jokic. Now, also what did help was the fact that I believe Jokic had 3 fouls in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So you put one of your better players, your best player, put their best player in a scenario where they can't even get rolling. What I'm used to seeing is players leave a game if they have 2 fouls in the first quarter. So the fact that it got to 3 probably actually negated the fact that you can't get started in the first or the second quarter. So that put them behind the 8 ball. But the fact that Dwight Howard was in, now the physicality has increased compared to JaVale McGee. And when you do that, now those fight for boards is a lot more different than having JaVale McGee down there. So I think it was a good move to have Dwight there. Now, being the fact that the Celtics don't really have a Jokic type player, I think, on their team, and neither do the Heat. So I don't know if we see Dwight Howard start moving forward.
Well, the Celtics, they don't got that Jokic type player, but you don't think Bam? I know he's not a better shooter than Jokic, but his versatility, is kind of similar to Jokic and stuff like that. You don't think that, or?
Well, my thing is, I know Bam is one of the better players, but I don't know. I can't say that he's a Jokic. Jokic can take it all the way out to the 3-point line and make it rain. Bam is not doing that. So I think that kind of a player, I don't see Bam on that level yet, shooting wise, to where you're looking at Jokic, who can probably basically shoot anywhere a little bit. You're gonna need him to really be that force. You need Dwight to bring that versatility with it. Bam is more so of a player who's going to stay under the rim compared to Jokic, right? So
yep.
you keep pulling JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is not going to work, doing that with Jokic. He may be able to last a little bit more with JaVale McGee. Dwight Bam. But the fact is, Dwight is still going to get his minutes. It's just the fact that now you're going to start McGee and then bring Dwight in his regular minutes, and then obviously he'll match up with Bam. But you're not going to need him to actually be on the court, the same time as AD, because AD kind of somewhat match up with Bam a little bit. So they could, but I just don't see Dwight starting that many games in the finals.
Time will tell. If Dwight Howard stays in the starting lineup. Currently, the Heat and Celtics are playing right now on ESPN, and the Heat are up by 9, 33-24. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But back to the Lakers and Nuggets. For the Nuggets, D-Lock, a team that, built for the regular season. I think, what George Karl, when he took over that team years ago, a decade ago or so, drafted Carmelo Anthony, getting those right pieces around him. And then even with, trading Melo away, you still have a solid team there. And you continue to see that with Mike Malone in the fold. How do you see this team going forward in the future? Jokic and Jamal Murray, we know what they can bring to the table. What about the other guys? You think they stepping up?
Talk about for the Nuggets, right?
Yes, for the Nuggets.
Uh, I mean, I think they do. The thing about it is they do have their two key pieces with Murray and Jokic. Gary Harris is not a bad player. I think if he can actually fully stay healthy, you might see another piece there. He's a great defensive player as well. Paul Millsap is going to retire at some point. I think he's going to be there, but not for too long. This team seems like it is built around a defensive mentality, and then they're going to have Michael Porter, come off and be one of the shooters as well. So you got the shooter. You got a shooter there. Monte Morris could play a little role. He'll play a pretty big role. I mean, pretty decent role. Torrey Craig as well. So you got, a bit of a combination. And let's not forget, they don't have Will Barton.
Yep.
This whole bubble. So once he comes back now, you got you a solid, amount of pieces there. And honestly, in my mind, I'm thinking the third scorer on that team could be Will Barton. I think he's the one that kind of gets rolling outside of Jamal Murray and Jokic. So they have a solid squad. It's just now about keeping that consistency with that team. Maybe adding in one more piece and making the shots. Obviously, it's kind of like they live by the three and die by the three a little bit. But once Jamal Murray gets started, everybody else starts to get started as well. But also, we are talking about the West, right?
Yep.
Like, let's not forget that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry were hurt this past year. So we're going to see them, kind of get things cooking. I still have a little faith in the Timberwolves right now. I think once they kind of get D'Lo and Cal on the same level, they probably can get them on the same page. They might be able to start having a pretty decent season. And remember, let's not forget we talked about the Phoenix Suns as well recently. They were on that stretch on the bubble for a while. So Devin Booker was on that team, that bubble team. So you have the West is going to be pretty deep, and it seems as if even if it's 1-8, 2-7, 3-4, whatever, the playoffs for next year is still going to be kind of very tough for the West.
For me, for the Nuggets and for the future moving forward, you mentioned Gary Harris. Like you mentioned, if he's healthy, I think he never saw a piece. And Will Barton, another guy I think they definitely miss in the bubble. I think that would have helped a long way for this team in this series. Not the ultimate factor, but he could have been a very key piece for them. Paul Millsap, he's a free agent after this season. Will they keep him around or tab Michael Porter Jr. to be in that starting lineup? And a guy Michael Porter Jr. who could get you 20 points a game, combined with Murray, Jokic, that's 60 plus right there per night. If they move on from Millsap and put Porter in that starting lineup. Like you said, Gary Harris come back and healthy, be hit and do his thing. Grant, what you do with him? He's a free agent as well. You gave up a first round pick for him. So it's like, do you try and keep him in the fold as well as one of your top 6 men? And then also Bobo, a guy we kind of talked about a few weeks ago, watching him play, like, okay, he got some potential here.
Yeah.
And then, if you give him Bobo next year, you get him, Plumbing's minutes. I think, with this team, you can do some things next year. But I think one thing is key, kind of depends on Michael Porter Jr.'s development. I think we know where Jokic and Murray at now in this league. Probably like top 15 players, top 20, it's somewhere around that mix. Michael Porter Jr. that we talked about before D-Lock, a guy, if he didn't have back issues, would probably be a number overall pick years ago. If he can mature his game, work on some offensive things, passing, stuff like that, and kind of free up his game better, I think he'd be that third scorer for that team, or maybe number 2.
Yeah. I mean, they have, like I said, they got the Nuggets. They are pretty solid. And like I said, they are pretty deep. They have the role players. They have the guy that they can kick. Like you said, Bobo could be a person that play a huge part as well. Um, I ain't gonna lie, I do like Plumlee as a backup to Jokic. To give him that rest. He's a pretty solid player off the bench as well. So you got a good. They're probably maybe 10 deep on that bench right now.
Yeah.
So to where they can actually put in a good solid amount of players and don't have to rush Jamal Murray back in to regain a lead or to extend the lead. They have the pieces that can come in and make a difference. But like I said, we are talking about the West, right? The Clippers will come back, big time next year. And also, we got to see what happens, like you said, in free agency. This is where I believe the Lakers will try to grab another piece, even though they're still heading to the NBA Finals. They're going to try to grab another big piece onto their team as well. So these teams are going to get better. It's just what it is, and I expect them to make that charge again. But you still got the Trailblazers that are going to come around. I think they're going to be better once Nurkic kind of get back into the role consistently. I think Utah will be pretty solid. So it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens. With the Nuggets, they got the pieces, but like we know, there's only one NBA Finals champ every year. And only one team from the East and the West can go. So can they actually get over that hump and get there?
Yeah, and you brought up Portland, and another team to bring up, the Warriors. I seen video of Klay Thompson back in the gym, working out, shooting. He didn't have a brace on his knee, and it seems like he's back 100%. And it's just like, okay, if he's back and healthy, ready to go for next year, depending on how the other guys look, and then also what you do, wherever you do with the number 2 pick, that Warrior team's gonna come back pretty strong as well. And
yeah,
I'm trying to think, Minnesota is an interesting team to me. D'Lo and Karl Anthony Towns, real tight, wanting to play together. I'm kind of interested to see what they can do together, as a 1-2 punch. And, they got solid pieces there with them. It's just like I told you before, D, like, I don't think Cat can be that dude. I think, Russell, I think once he left LA, which I wish he never did, but, that's another story for another day. But, when he got to Brooklyn, had some humble pie to a degree, kind of start feeling himself. He kind of could be that dude that we kind of, envisioned to see in the Lakers, but never did. So for the Nuggets, I think they still be a top 4 team in the West next year. I think it's just more of a maturity thing, for like Murray, Jokic, Porter, Bobo, Torian Craig, bring back Will Barton in the fold, PJ Joe Dozer. And then, like I said, Terry brought up in the chat, the Nuggets need to bring back Jeremiah Grant. I agree. Because you need that versatile big, to go along with some of these guys out in the West. But I think the Nuggets will be straight D-Lock.
Yeah, I think so. I know we are. It's just that we are talking about the West. Like, are we talking about the Nuggets here because the Warriors were, out? Because like, I don't see the Nuggets taking any drop back. I think they're still going to be the same squad, but there will be, other teams that will get involved. So I do see them, like I said, making that push to being back in the same spot. They should get better, but they will. Like I said, the West is just loaded, man. Like if you just look at the teams, like everybody healthy is going to be, it's going to be a problem.
And we'll finish this up here about the Nuggets. Is like, how long do Denver? I mean, the front office in Denver give that leash to Mike Malone to kind of get them over the hump. It's like they gave George Karl a long time trying to get over the hump, and he really never did. I mean, he came close, but he never got them over the hump. Now, Mike Malone got these two guys here, Jokic and Murray. Does the expectations of him go up? Say, hey, we got these two superstars here. Got another guy here, Porter, who could be that guy as well. How soon do you think they got at least make it back to the Western Conference Finals? Next year? Within 2 years? What are your betting odds on that?
I give them a chance to get back, but I don't think we see two back-to-back three, being down 3-1 series come back next year. I don't think we see that. Also expecting things will go back to normal, so therefore teams that have home games will actually have home games. I don't think it'll be a bubble next year. Hopefully not. And if it's not, maybe series change. The series changes. Like I said, do we honestly see a 3-1 happen if two of those games were in LA for the Clippers? Do we honestly see that if one or two of those games were in Utah? So there's a chance that we could be seeing, the fact that they took advantage of the scenario that we're in, and they capitalized on it. But to go back, I think it is a chance next year. It's just, I just see that if they do go down 3-1, I'd probably would bet against the fact that they will go back to the NBA Finals, because if they are down 3-1, I think a team will close it out if it's back to normal.
Yeah, I see that too. It's like, and I think that another thing too about the maturity.
Yeah.
You can't allow yourself as a team get down 3-1 multiple times. I mean, it's great confidence that you come back and win those series, but you don't want to be in that hole from the jump. And I think that's another thing I think, take for this bubble was like, okay, yeah, we came down for 3-1 against the Jazz. Yeah, we came down for 3-1 against the Clippers. But, against the Lakers, we couldn't put ourselves in that hole again, and we came in that hole again, and eventually it builds on the backside. So
yeah.
I think in the future, especially for Mike Malone, he can't let his teams, get down these holes in the playoffs that early. Or if that's the case, then his future in Denver, he might not make it rounds. Like they might look around and say, "Well, damn, you can't close the deal. We'll get somebody else in here."
Well, remember, we talked about it before, being the fact they're in the bubble. Dude, all they're doing is just it's like they're playing street ball.
Yeah.
Like they're going to the same basketball court. They're in the same. Everybody in the same city. They go to the court, they play a game, and they just go back home, go back to their room, hotel, or whatever. Then they go back to the same court. So I think at some point when you're down 3-1, the comfort of that and the fact that you're not really going anywhere, there's not really any fans, just feel like you're back home. Now, I think we talked about this before. Some people perform when nobody's there, and some people perform when people are there. So some people perform better with fans there and the fact that they have, their crowd hyping them up. And I think we see it in all sports, a difference. But without that, this is a 3-1 could happen, because I honestly don't feel like if they were down 3-1, they were in LA. I don't know if the Clippers would just freeze back to back like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no discredit to the Nuggets. It's just, with fans there, we might be talking about a different scenario, or the fact that you're flying from, Denver to LA. So there's a lot of things that play a part, and, give them credit. They took advantage of the scenario because, again, even with that, same thing on the Clippers and the Jazz, and, you're just going back to that same court. You know that you're up. Like, how can you not close the deal? So I expect, like I said, for them to be, good again. I don't knock that. I just feel like it's going to be kind of, interesting to see what happens next year with everybody healthy, and then, back to the season being regular.
Yeah, and like I said, great job for the Nuggets. I think in the beginning of the year, there could have been a chance they made the Western Conference Finals if they made a run, but in this circumstance, they still made a run, and for them, keep that momentum going. You know what you got to do. As a team, you can do. I think you got to keep that momentum going. But staying on the Western Conference to a degree, D-Lock, one coach has made the jump from one Western Conference team to the Eastern Conference. Billy Donavon, ladies and gentlemen, has accepted the Chicago Bulls coaching job. 4 years, $24 million. Billy Donavon goes to Chicago to lead a team that hasn't sniffed the playoffs in years. Goes to a team that has a lot of questions more than answers. D-Lock, is Billy Donavon the right guy for the Chicago team?
It'd be hard to say that he isn't. You see what he did in OKC, even though he had a stud veteran guard in Chris Paul. But if you look at how this Bulls team is built, right, they're very similar, built than how OKC is, if not better. And the reason why I say better is because they have better big men, and you look at with Wendell Carter, marketing is there. So they have, a couple pieces there. So that plus the guards that they have with Zach LaVine, a couple other guys. I'm drawing a blank right now. So it's what's the guy name? Chris Dunn is there. So they have a lot of pieces there, that he can work with. So thanks. But isn't Satoransky over there too from Washington?
Oh God, what's his name? Yeah, I think so.
I think he went over there. Yeah, so they have a lot of guards. There's times where this team had a lineup set to where they had 3 guards on the court, right? So they are loaded. And the name that was drawn blank was Kobe White.
Yeah,
which is a stud. I don't know how. I forgot him for a minute, but him, and then it's Thomas Satoransky. Yeah, so, and obviously Denzel Valentine. So they got a lot of guards, just like OKC was built with the Dennis Schroeder, with SGA and Chris Paul. This team has that, and on top of that, like I said, they got forwards as well. They have young forwards too. So I think he's the right fit for this team. The fact is, another thing, we talked about the West before. The West is a lot harder than the East. So we may see, the Bulls make a big jump because they got this, he took the OKC. We didn't mention too much. We didn't mention too much about, or we didn't think too much of OKC getting to the playoffs. And it happened. And like, well, damn, like Billy Donavon needs to be coach of the year, right? Yep. So they have, he did a pretty good job over there at OKC. So imagine what he's going to do in Chicago. He had them go a long way with OKC. So now in Chicago, a team that has a pretty set amount of young pieces, he's going to be pretty set. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they have a top 5 pick, correct?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so that's even better news for him, right? They got the guards. You already got you pretty solid forwards. You got Martin, you got Otto Porter Jr. as well. If he can stay healthy this year, maybe they can make a big, long run as well. So they have a solid roster, and on top of that, they got a top 5 pick. So I don't know if they're gonna move that pick to go grab somebody, but you got the makings of a pretty decent squad, and I think he's the perfect guy for it. Now, we talked about this before. Now, even though we don't know it, I keep saying his name. It's like I want this guy to get traded. But maybe they're looking to trade that pick for Joel Embiid or another big man.
And
because right now, they have Zach LaVine. Go ahead.
Well, you made an interesting point. The big men they have in Wendell Carter and Laurie Marketing, they really have been up to snuff. I mean, they've been hurt, and then when they play, the play's been inconsistent. And you mentioned a big man. You think they may package that 4th pick and maybe want a big man to get somebody else? Do you see that happening?
It's a possibility. If I'm Billy Donovan, I'll tell you what I'm probably doing. I'm probably going to try to send 2 big men over to Philly. I'll probably send 2 big men and get and send that 4th pick. Probably would send. Don't forget we got Cristiano Felicio as well. I'm probably sending Felicio, May, like I'll probably maybe send Wendell Carter or Daniel Gafford. Send both 2 of those a pick for Joel Embiid. Because, dude, you got your guards. You got your guards. You got an Otto Porter at your forward. And you got Shaquille Harrison as well as your guard. They're packed with guards.
Yeah.
You got shooters. So all you need now is a stud big man. You get to a stud big man. You said you didn't really think too much about Karl Anthony Towns. Well, that would be a consideration for them to try to trade. It would be hard to see. It depends on what the Timberwolves do. If they go get the big man from Memphis, then I'm calling. If I'm in Chicago, I'm calling Minnesota quick. So you have all these options, and that's why it makes total sense why Billy Donovan took that job. He's in a situation where he's in a great situation right now. He has all his guards he needs. He has a 4th round pick. All you need is a dominant big man down low. You go get you a Joel Embiid that's going to grab every board off the glass. You might have you a pretty solid squad, and he's going to bring defense. You got you a squad that can contend for a playoff spot, especially in the East. Brooklyn just made it in the East. Hell, Washington was close to making it. So now you got like I said, I continue to say you got your one. You got the players that can play your 1 through 3. Go ahead and get your big man. Take that 4th pick. You already got your solid vets. You don't really need to bring a rookie in. Go ahead and send that 4th pick to a team that's probably in a mode of rebuilding or to replace a couple players or don't want to pay somebody. Put them on your team, and now you have a playoff contenders team.
My thoughts on Billy Donovan getting this job is it was the right move for Chicago to move on from Jim Bowen. The Jim Bowen that we see him, get head coach jobs, and nobody really likes the dude. This is like he gets in position of power, and it's like he just pisses everybody off. And with these guys in Chicago, the stories coming out, the practices and stuff like that, making these guys, clock in and stuff like that. This kind of seemed over the top, And I'm not saying as a coach, you be these guys' best friend and stuff like that, but sometimes you go over the top, especially these, with today's players, it's not going to be a good mix. And, with Donovan getting this job, him being in the college game as long as he's had, transition to the NBA, he knows how today's player is. You can find that right balance to be that, straightforward coach and, kind of be on that, how to handle these guys on the other side. what this Chicago team is going to do. It's going to be very interesting. They got a new front office, so no more Gar Froman, no more John Paxton in the fold. I'm not a Chicago Bull fan, D-Lock, but when those two guys were gone, it's like good. You start off fresh. The Reinsdorf family finally cut bait with those two. Got a new front office in, a new head coach in. I think for the Bulls, I think things gonna be on up and up. I don't think next year they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll make steps towards to make it in starting 2022, the 2021 season, 22 season.
I don't know. I think the fact that they're in the East, somebody under 500 is going to make the playoffs. In my opinion.
Well, I mean, they can make it too. And, one of the things that I think I shared this with you months ago, Jim Boylen didn't really start Kobe White, and Kobe White was one of the better performers come off the bench for Chicago. So, okay, you still got Chris Dunn out there. He's not really doing nothing for you. And then you put Kobe Smith in the starting lineup, then things started happening. I mean, granted, you won't win the games, but you see a clear difference in your starting lineup. It's like, come on, dog. What are you doing? It's gonna be real interesting to see what they do with their forwards and big men. Otto Porter, he still got that big contract, and like I said, he was injured. What will you do with that? Chris Dunn, do you keep him around? Because he's still a young guy in the league, but you're gonna start Kobe White next year. That fourth pick is gonna be interesting. What do you? I mean, depending on who falls and whatnot, or what happens with Golden State and whatnot, it's gonna be real interesting. Who they target. Do they go for the LaMelo Ball? If Anthony Edwards drop down to them, do they snatch him up? James Wiseman from Memphis, if he falls to them, do you pick him up? What's the kid's name from Dayton? Oh God, what's his name? Is it Obi?
I know you talk about. I can't think of his name.
Obi something.
Yeah. Let's see.
Obi
Toppin?
Yep. Obi Toppin for Dayton. A guy that, if you draft him, he's way more athletic than Lauri Markkanen is. And, Markkanen coming back from that knee injury. I don't know, man. You look and I'm like, damn, he's young. Well, I don't think he's younger, but this dude more athletic, got more of an NBA build. I mean, yeah, you can shoot and stuff, but this dude can shoot as well and do a lot more things than what you can do. I could ship you off, maybe catch like a future first round pick or so, and maybe another piece, and then I'm off to the races.
That's the thing about Billy Donovan is, he's clearly got rid of Paul George and they were building towards the future. So I feel like he's gonna want to build for the future, but he do have a lot of stud pieces now, which is probably, like I said, the reason why he probably took that job. Fact is, he seeing who they have and how young they are. They already got a few pieces, so like you said, that draft pick is gonna be huge.
And then a policy that never picked for that fourth overall pick, the kid from Israel, Danny Advaja. If I butcher that, I apologize. From the film I've seen for him, D-Lock, a stretch four, a point forward, can shoot and stuff like that. Now, granted, like you mentioned, do they need another young guy with that core? I mean, this kid's gonna be 19 years old. Obi Toppin, I mean, he's 22, 21, 22. Played 4 years in college. But, you know, can you afford another young guy on that roster? After, you know, staying in that lottery for like years on end, drafting after this guy, after that guy, this guy, after that guy. If this kid come in from Israel, play, you know, come in and do the damn thing, cool. But it's like, for Billy Donavon in the front office, like, I don't know if we can afford another first round, another young kid.
Yeah. I mean, you already got you already got a pretty, good group right now. So that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking maybe they look for a little bit more veteran wise, and look for a veteran to come in and kind of gel with them, or do they get another young piece as well?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, the NBA offseason kicks in October, I believe, or something like that. I don't know. It changes so much here lately. We'll see how things go in the offseason. But we're going to talk about this more, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this draft and this offseason is going to be very interesting and all that. And all this stuff. But, congrats to Billy Donovan. Getting the bull shop. Let me ask you one more question, D-Lock, before we move on. Are you surprised? We talked about this off air. I thought maybe he would probably chill out for a year and maybe go back to college when if an opening comes up to his liking and go after that. Are you surprised that he's stuck in the NBA?
Kind of, but not really. I'm thinking that being the fact that he knows how well he did, I kind of was surprised, but not really, just because I'm thinking that he see how well he did this year with OKC and how he moved forward, and now it's just more so of, okay, I already see Chris Paul is going to be a little older. He's going to retire at some point. Also see how deep the West is, and then seeing other jobs open. So when you see that, Houston job is open too, right?
Yeah, Houston is still open. New Orleans is still open. Let's see. I feel like somebody else is open at the moment.
Bulls, Houston, New Orleans.
Brooklyn
already got their coach. So when you see that, I'm thinking that in his mind, he's probably thinking, okay, well, I had a good season. Damn, it was coach of the year. Somebody's going to pay, big bucks for him. So, for the NBA. And then obviously you're looking at the Rockets, and then you're looking at the Bulls. In a sense, you take either one of those jobs, you really you can't go wrong by either one. So still kind of shocking that D'Antoni is peeled out like that. But that it kind of was a shocker, but at the same time, I kind of can see, why that happened, because or why he did stay, because some jobs are just too, they're probably look too good, and I think he's going to make a huge difference in Chicago. I really think that. And then obviously with college, I don't know what big name schools are looking for a coach right now. I mean, honestly, if he did go back, I would love him to go back to Florida, like, completely. But it was a smart move for him to take the Bulls job and stay in the NBA.
Well, I was thinking in the college sense, like, depending on how the season went this year, atop my head, you mentioned Florida, Chris White down there, last year's squad, was supposed to be real good, but I mean, they were solid, but you expected more from them. And like you got Kerry Blackshear. It's like damn, dog. We kind of expected more from this. And then, you know, North Carolina, Roy Williams, kind of getting long in the tooth there to a degree. I love Roy Williams, but it's like, time and ticking right there. If you look around else around the landscape, I can't really think at the top of my head until some of these openings come open.
Yeah.
Shaka Smart down in Texas. He has had high expectations and really hasn't come through yet. He's kind of similar to like Anthony Grant going to Alabama. Did very great at VCU, didn't get to the high profile job and didn't. It was solid, but expected more. But maybe the mid major is his fit because we've seen what Anthony Grant did with Dayton this year, going 30-1, and God knows if the NCAA tournament happened, they could have been champions. And that would punch me in the gut right there. But I don't know. Billy probably got to run the NBA and say, I like this, and, I'm going to do my damn thing.
Yeah.
So, as I said, congrats to him. And we'll see, what happens with the Bulls down the line. But tonight, Liz.
I like to make the playoffs, though.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, like big time. Like, to see what he did at OKC was just a big shocker to me. So it won't be a surprise, especially in the West, dude. Like, and the East, he's going to be a problem in the East.
I mean, I think they can make it. I don't think Detroit going to do anything. I mean, Washington. I don't know what they're going to do at off season.
So did you see? Even though we were going off them, but did you see that Bradley Beal? I think he said something about liking Billy Donovan go to Chicago.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. It was a big talk. Like, I think maybe last week or earlier this week, they were talking about, I think Bradley Beal liked the fact that he went to Chicago. So just look out for that. Like I said, that pick is there. Just look out for, him getting a Bradley Beal, or Bradley Beal trying to campaign to be in Chicago.
Well, that Florida connection there.
You know it.
And God knows what John Wall's going to look like next year. Hopefully he's back and healthy. But, I think you got to blow that up in Washington, in my humble opinion. So that's another team at the way.
Yeah.
And then, what the Magic do in offseason is going to be, kind of, interesting to watch out. So,
very true.
For Chicago, yeah, they could make the playoffs. Another team to watch out for is Atlanta.
If they can get right, yeah, they got the connections there too.
That's another team you got to look out for. Cleveland, I don't know. I don't know which way Cleveland's going.
They're all over the place.
They got two veterans they could, flip around and get future assets, but do you really want to do that? And then you got
Did you get rid of Drummond if you just got? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like.
If I can find a team, if I get some inspiring back in a first round pick for a contending team, for who's desperate enough to trade a first round pick for Andre Drummond in the first round and another first round. I won't say this.
I mean, maybe
you say the Bulls, maybe.
I'm thinking. I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that, like I said, I'm thinking they could be getting a vet, but that's why I said this Billy Donovan move is so big because you're in a prime position where if you look at this roster, dude, you have everything that you really need except one spot. And if you find a team that's trying to get rid of a big man that can make a huge impact, why not? Why not try to get him? Because Drummond or Embiid, they're grabbing everything off the damn glass.
Yeah, that's true. And then another team I forgot to mention, Charlotte. I,
Yeah,
I, eh, I, hell, I don't know about Charlotte. Shit. I,
it's Michael Jordan, man.
I was
You know
like,
that, man.
I mean, they got some nice pieces, but it's just like, uh,
And they had Kimber. They let him go. So
yeah, traded. Well, basically swapping him for Terry Rozier, and that's what you
yeah,
get.
yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, stay in the Eastern Conference. Currently, right now, the Celtics and the Heat are playing. And I'm trying to pull up the score right now. Let's see. Come on now. Come on. Currently at halftime, the Heat are up 62-60. D-Lock. Miami's one win away to return to the NBA Finals after, was it 5 years or so? 4 or 5 years?
That's
Boston.
Braun.
Yep. Boston looking trying to get back to the NBA Finals since I want to say, geez, was it 2011? I believe 2011, 2012.
It's been a while.
Who do you see win? I mean,
Yeah.
who do you see winning tonight with the Heat up but 2 at halftime? It's tough. I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
My thing is right now with this team is it seems like okay, Tatum is 5 for 15. He's not really got he's shooting bad right now. If he starts to wake up, the Celtics could make a push. But there's a reason why Jason Tatum is struggling, and it's because the Heat have a smothering defense. So right now, I think that the Heat are going to take this one. The reason why is because Jimmy Butler, as we know, is one of those players that he gets hot and he starts cooking when he needs to. So for me, I'm thinking right now that they'll close this game out. They're just too deep for me right now to pick against. I mean, I like what the Heat have. They got too many shooters. In the sense of what has Kemba? Let me see what Kemba's been. Okay, Kemba only has 9 points. So we know that this team goes as Kemba and Tatum go. So Kemba is a person that can make a huge impact, but his minutes are always kind of up and down because they're bringing in Brandon Wanamaker who can kind of play pretty decent as well, but he's not a Kemba. So I do see the Heat kind of closing this one out. Now, it's not going to be easy, as we know. I think that the Celtics are going to have it down to the wire. But, and also I think that Bam is just going to continue dominating, down low. I mean, he's for one, we all know that centers, and big men eat against the Celtics. So expect him to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, he hasn't even really grabbed many boards like that. So once he starts to pick up boards, he's looking at 16 points right now. So expect him to continue to cook. And another person too to watch out for who can get hot at any time is Jay Crowder. So if his shot starts to fall in these next 2 quarters, I think the Heat would definitely advance.
you mentioned Drake Crowder. He shot really well in this series. Very, very well. I was like, when the opportunity comes to it, I mean, if he's, when he's wide open, he been knocking down his shots. Tyler Hero, he was big the other day, scoring 37 points. I think for Miami to win this game, he's got, to turn it up. I've tweeted from the Fast Break account. If you're not following us there, please do. That's Fast Break ISR. But I mentioned Jimmy Butler. To be that dude, he's got to lead his team past Celtics. Don't let this game to victory. Yeah. Don't let this get to a game 7, in which anything can happen. You punch the Indiana Pacers in the mouth. Got T.J. Warren shook from the beginning earlier this season and carried over to the bubble. You punch the damn Milwaukee Bucks in the mouth. Surprised me and you how dominant they were in this series. Now you get the Celtics. For a team that's with this young core is being in the Eastern Conference Finals for past couple years. If you get over the hump in this, man, I'll be singing your praises if you're Jimmy Butler. On a side note, D-Lock, about Jimmy Butler, remember when Kawhi Leonard was kind of talking to players, trying to join up with him on the Clippers, and was that little chance of Butler potentially teaming up with Kawhi? Do you think Kawhi and Jimmy would have worked out good? You want to talk about some dogs though in that team?
Yeah, I mean, you add Jimmy Butler. I mean, we might be looking at the Clippers and the Lakers for real. I like Paul George, but I like Jimmy Butler better because he's a dog as well. But I do think that his presence and him being on that team, I think somebody would have to go between Lou Williams, Beverly. I think that he would play such a big role. Not as in the chemistry would be, messed up. They won't like each other. I just think that he would play such a bigger role. Like Paul George seemed like he was just there making shots, playing a little bit of defense here or there. Like Jimmy Butler's a person that can clearly take over a game at any point. Like the Clippers wouldn't have anything to worry about with Kawhi on the bench and Jimmy Butler's in the game. So they could have worked. I'm happy he didn't go there though.
Yeah.
Like he seems like he's fitting perfect in Miami. But if he was to work with Kawhi, I think that's a nastier combination than Paul George and Kawhi, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I was like, damn, if he went there with his mentality, I think the Clippers would be straight. But of course, I think that there was always that, and thankful for Miami's lucky horses, there always that love affair between Butler and the Heat organization, dating back to his time back in Minnesota. And when that trade fell through, between the Timberwolves and Heat, got traded to Philly. Then Philly didn't want to guarantee him that 5th year. So, okay, I'll just go where I really wanted to go, down to Miami. And now looking where I'm at right now, up by 1 in the third quarter against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. And we're not talking about them going 1 year just now, and that's it. This team is very young. Like, they can consistently contend for a championship every year. Like, the Heat are literally that deep. Like, they have a lot of pieces over there. Like they're gonna, you know what I mean? They're gonna get better every year. Tyler Hero is gonna be an all-star at some point.
Oh yeah, and besides Tyler Hero, we talked about this before. The great finds in Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn as well. Those guys as well. Bam Adebayo, how well he has stepped up this year and to be an all-star as well. And he has 18 points and 6 rebounds right now. Getting a veteran like Andre Iguodala, the guy that's been there and done that, he's perfect from the field right now for 8 points. But for the Celtics side, real quick, Tatum, he's got to shoot the ball better. And even Jaylen Brown, too. He's 6 for 14 right now. I'll take it back. Not Jaylen Brown.
Defense, man. They smothered them.
Yeah, well, I'll take it back.
Smothered them. That defense.
Yeah, that's true. I'll take it back. I was reading the wrong stats. That's Marcus Smart shooting 6 for 14. If Marcus Smart, if he's on, he's on. But if he's off, it's like you kind of got to snatch the ball away from him. And this do or die moment, you can't let him kind of shoot you out the game when push comes to shove.
Yeah.
And,
this is true.
You're Brad Stevens. Smart. You may have Smart there to do what you want, but, don't let him go 6 for 14 and you lose the game. Put Gordon Hayward back there and kind of, ride on your horses.
Yeah, that's another piece too. I think that's kind of hurt him. He's just getting back to himself. But the deep man. They can play any kind of defense over there. Like they have a lot of pieces. Like Pat Riley has done a great job with that team. He rebuilt them very, very fast. He made sure to get Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy was also almost getting traded to Houston, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it almost was a move, but for them to grab him was a huge piece, and it's paying dividends big time.
And just kind of following the game right now. Bam, he's on a roll right now. Jason Tatum just made a jump shot. It's going to be real interesting this fourth quarter. How do you see the rest of this game playing out? Do the Heat pull away and kind of ice this game? Or does it stay close to the rest of the way? Or do Boston kind of find a way to force a game 7?
I think they're going to win, but I think that the Heat are going to win. But I'm expecting Kemba to wake up at some point because clearly him and Tatum are the driving forces for this team. Jaylen Brown is a piece as well, but I think that the two that need to wake up, and if they want a fighting chance, they need those two to have a big game. Kim likes to get hot later on in games, but this is they get too far behind. He's not going to have time to just come in and start cooking later. That's the only thing about Stevens that coach Brad Stevens I really don't like is his rotation is just like he's really deep in his rotations. So even though Kemba can be a person that can get on the roll, Kemba will get on the roll and he'll take him out. And then he'll bring in Wnba, he'll bring in somebody else. So keep him on that roll and keep him in the game. Like I know you have a certain way of doing things, you're doing the minutes, but if they're starting to kick and they're starting to make these points, they're on fire, leave him in there. But he doesn't do that.
I think that could have been like a habit that he really never shook from college. He made I got this starting 5 here. And then, but I still like giving time to these guys because I like what they bring to the court. like you mentioned, like a
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Brad Wanamaker. You know, yeah, Kimber can be cooking, but okay. But, Brad got to get his time in because I like what he does. But, sometimes, if Kimber Walker's cooking, let him cook. Brad Wanamaker will be okay on the end of the bench. But then even like last game, he played Grant Williams minutes, but now, in this crucial game, you don't got him out here for, I guess, for a different look. So like you mentioned, like, the consistency in, your rotations. If that dude, Grant Williams, gave you a nice spark of the play last couple games, why play the guy? If he ain't do what he's supposed to do, then you just send him back down and, live for another day.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is just, Celtics got to get it done, man. This is, like I said, get it down. Adjustments need to be made to me.
But before we go, you say you got the Heat to win this series.
You know it.
I got the Heat as well. I think Boston. They're so close, but it just seemed like something. It seemed like something's not there yet. I don't know what it is. My thinking is maybe Tatum takes that matures enough for next year and take that next leap to be one of those dudes. But it's not quite there yet. I think him and Jaylen Brown, I think it's still like a filling out process, like of who's the man. And until they get that figured out, I don't think the Celtics are quite there yet.
Nah. They will eventually, but no, not yet.
Not there yet. But before one more thing, D-Lock. If you're the Lakers, which team do you want to see in the finals?
Celtics. Easily. Ain't no question in mind. Go ahead and give me the Celtics. Because AD will kill them centers. AD will kill those centers. Damn thieves can't hold AD.
What about Enes Kanter? You don't think he can hold him either?
Man, Enes Kanter, man, it's over with for him. Go ahead and tell that man, get up out the bubble, man. Over with, man. I take the Celtics, please. And I say Celtics, I say Lakers and 5. Mess around and play them. I don't want to play the Heat. I wouldn't want to play them. They got too many bodies they're going to throw at Braun. Way too many bodies. That's when we're going to see Iguodala come out of nowhere. Not necessarily score points, but he's going to be on the court and they're going to go very heavy on defense. Got Jimmy Butler, got Jay Crowder, and you're going to have Iggy right there. So you don't want to see somebody slowly try to, tire LeBron down. Because you tire him down, they're gonna have 80. Him and Bam are gonna go at it, and then now you're hoping that KCP can continuously have good games. Rondo and Danny Green, and as we can see, it's like Danny Green only come out there to play defense.
Yeah, I think for the Lakers, you will want to see the Celtics, only because I think the Celtic-Laker rivalry, can those young dudes from the Celtics live up to that? And LeBron, he's been a Boston heart stopper before. So he'll live up to killing Boston and their goals to win, getting back to winning the championship. He's done before. And especially in a Laker uniform, he had more than incentive to get that done and crush, the Boston dream again. And then we'll see Bill Simmons crying his beer. But
yeah, no Paul Pierce ain't gonna like that.
Oh, can't stand Paul Pierce. But anyways, but for like if they match up with the Heat, like you mentioned, Iguodala, Jay Crowder, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson. What's that one dude's name? From Miami, Derrick Jones.
Mm-hmm. They're long.
I mean,
very long.
God, that's a laundry list of dudes that you could throw at LeBron, at times at Anthony Davis. So,
see what they did to Giannis.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, Giannis got his, though. It's just like the other fools didn't step up.
Yeah. But see, Giannis wasn't going 31 and 10 every game. They weren't stopping him, but they were just slowing him down. So he was getting, instead of 31, 10, and 12 or something like that, he was going maybe 24, maybe 9 and maybe 10 or something like that. So you slow him down and you're forcing other people to get involved. Like you said, Chris Middleton only showed up 2 games. Brook Lopez had a hell of a series. But what did Eric Bledsoe do?
Well,
George Hill was playing better than Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, so like even they slowed it down a little bit. That stat line you just pointed out, you figure, okay, that's good right there. And then okay, you look around like Bledsoe, what you doing, dog? Middleton, we need more from you. Lopez, great shooting. Now, I wish you rebound better. George Hill, thank you for your service. But they shut the rest of those guys down. So we'll see how things shake up. Andre Iguodala is very hot right now. 4 for 4 from 3-point land, 14 points at the moment. The Heat are up by 8 points. So we'll see how things shake out for the rest of in the second half. But thank you for tuning in late tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I know we went over for a little bit, but with the live game going on right now, it's kind of great to talk about that game in progress. But D-Luck, how can people find you on social media?
You guys definitely can find me at Black-813. Black, the word dash, because if I don't say that, people will put a dash. Black-813. Find me on Twitter and Instagram. Also have a YouTube channel. Type in Dentarius Lock. You will see me there. And there you go. Also, go Bucks big time. Let them know where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288 on Twitter. You can follow me on the Crooks Process on Facebook and Instagram. I haven't done a show here lately, so hopefully I'll get one here soon this week. Please do follow us on Fast Break on Twitter at Fast Break ISR. That's Fast Break ISR. Please follow us there. And please do join us back early in the morning here on IE Sports Radio with the morning brunch at, I believe, 10 o'clock Central Time. So please tune in for that. But this has been our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Fastback here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all sports. Y'all have a great night. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Deuces.